Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the McGonagall Boxing Podcast. The dust has settled on Francis Ngannou, Anthony Joshua, and I think there's a lot of after the mayor's show, isn't there? Here, I told you so, and I don't want to be one of them guys. I really don't, because it's important to realise that my predictions I don't always get right. I do get wrong, but this one I have to give myself some credit. I got it spot on. I said Ngannou wouldn't do anywhere near as well against Joshua than he did against Fury, for a number of reasons. I also didn't expect Ngannou to survive to the belt. I gave him about a 10% chance of winning. I said if he lands clean on Joshua, he could do some damage, but apart from that, he's got no chance. I also questioned the intensity and the hunger of Ngannou in this fight. Now, I'll touch upon all them issues, but the first thing that stands out for me was the fact that I didn't see the fire in Ngannou's eyes like I did when he was fighting Fury. I didn't see him training. Like, the training was intense, wasn't it? I think he was annoyed that people were treating him like a running meme pre-fight Fury. But, you know, having Mike Tyson in his corner really helped him. There's no question about that. I didn't see him hook up with Tyson once in this build-up. He seemed very pally with Joshua. Very, very respectful. And I get it. Listen, it's good to show respect. You know, and obviously, you know, they were touching upon their childhoods, their growing ups, their challenges. So they had a lot in common. And as you can tell, there was mutual respect there. But unfortunately, when you're in a fight game, you've got to throw that out the window. And I question, like I say, whether or not the fire was with Ngannou like it was in the Fury fight. Also, let's be honest, it helps when you've got 15 million in the bank. That's his biggest payday ever. I mean, we're talking ever by a ridiculous amount. So, you know, are you really going to be as hungry? And, you know, let's be honest, his title of the UFC is well and truly over now. You know, so he's fighting for that pride of the UFC champion is kind of, you know, past its sell-by date now as well. So I didn't think he was going to do half as well. But obviously, stylistically as well, I thought, well, listen, they've had a good look at him now. I meing, he was an unknown quantity before he fought Fury. No one really knew what to expect. They knew he had an uppercut, as seen in the Overeem fight in UFC. But again, in the boxing world, no one knew. And I don't think Tyson Fury knew. And I just think he was obvious, isn't it? You know, he didn't train properly for that fight. Despite what he says, he tried to walk Ngannou down, got into range. And that's the worst thing you can do against someone who's got grappling, who's a better grappler, who's physically stronger than you, and of course can punch. You know, all Fury needed to do was box, half box, anything like that. If he remotely boxed anything like he did against Wilder in the first fight or Klitschko, he would have played with Ngannou, but he didn't. He got lazy. He thought, listen, this is an easy payday, over in a couple of rounds. But he didn't train. His timing was off. He underestimated the strength of Ngannou. And after he got caught, he was like, right, sod this, I'm just going to get through this fight now. Whereas Joshua obviously took him very, very seriously. You know, Ben Davison, you know, isn't the perfect trainer, but he's getting better. And one thing he does do, he studies fighters, and he knew that Ngannou's defence against Fury was very poor. You know, there's no question about that. It wasn't the case that Fury couldn't hit him. The case was that Fury was getting hit back. And he was trying to grapple. And he was just losing the grappling exchanges. So it was a dreadful, ugly fight. But Ngannou's defence hadn't improved. And I think Ben Davison just knew that, you know, he was susceptible to that overhand right, you know, because he kind of doesn't really have a guard, does he, Ngannou? He's not like a high guard. There's gaping holes in it. But obviously he expects to land before anyone else does. That's his defence in many ways. But, you know, when you're fighting Joshua, who's a power puncher, but also a sniper as well. When he's active, when he's sharp, when he's confident, he'll make you pay. And that's exactly what happened. And I said, I think Joshua's going to land on him, hurt him. And, and when he does, I didn't think it'd be a clean KO. I thought it'd be a stoppage on the ropes. I mean, but that was brutal, wasn't it? And I don't understand why, Ngannou was, obviously got floored in the first round, then suddenly decided to go southpaw. That was just suicide, wasn't it? As soon as he did that, the fight was over within 30 seconds because the gaping hole became like an avalanche. But, I mean, again, I questioned Ngannou's cardio, but he didn't really get to see that, so that wasn't an issue. But, it was just very lackluster, and I think he tried to take Joshua on early on. He charged him, but apart from that, he was just kind of standing at range, trying to out jab Joshua. It was bizarre, and obviously Joshua just grew in confidence, started to get his range, and then just waited, didn't he? He waited to land that right hand. And when he did, he saw it, it hurt Ngannou. He just grew in confidence. But listen, credit Joshua. He's definitely improved under Ben Davison. And the key is being active as well. That's the big thing for Joshua. He was going like 15, 16 months without a fight. You can't do that. And he's chopping, changing trainers. He's all over the world training. Now he's back in England. He's training regularly. Ben Davison, he's the main man. He's not like when he went with Errol Spence and the Charlo brothers. He's not like that anymore, is he? He's the main man in Ben Davison's camp, and he likes it that way. Being active has helped Joshua. I think tactically as well. Ben Davison has helped him. He sussed his opponents out. And credit Ben Davison, he's always been faulted as being a defensive coach. Well, actually, he's trying to bring out the aggression in Fury, Joshua again. So you've got to give him credit. He's able to adapt his coaching styles for the fighters that suit him. And I also think helping having Lee Wood in his stable, who's a devastating knockout puncher, has helped him become a better coach because prior to that, he's getting stick off Fury, saying he's been too defensive minded. But now actually he's adapted and he's encouraging his fighters who have got the style and power, like a Joshua, like Lee Wood, to be aggressive. So credit to Ben Davison there. He doesn't get a lot of credit all the time, but I think you've got to give him respect for that. Likewise with Joshua, he's made improvements. But let's not get carried away. Ngannou is not Fury, a prime Fury, and he's not Usyk. And I don't think Joshua beats Usyk under any circumstance. So all these, positive, speakers saying Joshua's back, he's going to knock Usyk out. Listen, Usyk's not going to get caught like Ngannou did, is he? He's not going to stand there in front, stiff, slow. That's not Usyk. He's all wrong for Joshua. And, I just think Usyk beats Joshua 10 times out of 10. But, Fury has to be careful. Fury could get knocked out by Joshua if he fights anything like he did in Ngannou. Only the best Fury, for me, beats Joshua. And let's be honest, it's probably got to happen within the next 2 years because I think Fury's going to age more quicker than Joshua is because he's lifestyle out of it. Whereas Joshua's always in shape, stays healthy, stays fit, doesn't smoke, doesn't drink, doesn't eat excessively, stays healthy. So, I think Fury's got to fight Joshua in the next 2 years. Otherwise, it could be a really, really dangerous fight for Fury. But like I said, Ngannou, what do we want to see from him now? Well, that was a devastating knockout. For me, he's got to have 6 months out of any combat. I'd like him to go back to MMA, PFL. That's where his fan base, his real fan base is, his big money is, in terms of, he's getting paid a lot of money from the PFL. Because that's Saudi backed as well, isn't it? So, and he's the king of that domain. But again, now you got a question: is he going to be bouncing back? Is he? How much is that knockout going to take out of him, even in the MMA, octagon against the young hungry lions? We don't know. But right now, I know most of the MMA heavyweights can't take Ngannou's power. So I think he's going to be okay for a year or two. But you wonder if that's going to take his confidence away, his chin away. Certain heavyweights in MMA now fancy it, don't they? They'll be right. Let's put it on him. Let's counter him. So he has to be careful. But I don't. The reason why I'm saying go back to MMA is I don't know if maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a Wilder fight. Maybe there's a Dillian White fight. But he's not. I can't see anyone wanting to really invest in Ngannou now in the boxing ring. Maybe a Fury rematch might do it, but when you get knocked out that badly, there's not going to be many people clamouring to see Ngannou fight again in the boxing ring. I mean, he was up, besides the first minute of the fight, he was terribly outclassed. So I think, the big money for him now, well, not boxing money, but money for sure, will be in the PFL. So I'd like him to go back there, fight his challenger and just stay in his lane, because that's what should have happened the first time when he fought Fury. And Joshua basically did the boxing world a favour, didn't he? Because Fury embarrassed the boxing world. Let's not make any bones about it. It was a dreadful performance, and all these MMA fans going, "Oh, look, boxing's nothing. This is what happens when our champion comes to your sport." And Joshua's shown what really happens, when you can't make up for lost time. Ngannou's been training for like a year. That's not enough to compete with anyone who's been, dedicating their life, 17, 18 years now at the highest level. So that's what should have happened with the Fury fight. Joshua puts the boxing world to rights again. He shows the MMA world that, listen, like the boxer would do in an octagon, they get exposed. That's what happens to MMA fighters, even if you're the heavyweight champion of the world. So credit Joshua. Obviously now he's going to be waiting the winner of Fury, Usyk, and I don't blame him. He's got his credentials back, he's got his big name back, and I think he'll get the winner. I don't think he beats either of the winners, but it's a big fight. Like I say, Ngannou, he needs 6 months out. That was a devastating knockout. He needs to regroup, regain his faculties, and then stick to his own lane for a bit. Maybe, if he has a few defences of the PFL, he can then call Wilder out. Who's, let's be honest, on his way down now. I can't see Wilder ever getting back to the top. And that would be a big fight. And then I would call it a day. Ngannou's 38. You can't be being knocked out like that at that age. So, I'd like to see Ngannou, a couple more fights, maybe one more boxing fight after that if he wins, and then call it a day, certainly before 40. But Joshua, he'll await the winner now, Fury Usyk, and rightly so. And, credit to him, he's rebuilt. A year ago, I thought his career was literally almost done. He was hesitant, he was unconfident. It just didn't look good at all, did it? But now, he's got a new lease of life under Ben Davison. Certainly the last couple of fights, Wallin, he looked much better. And in this fight, he looked confident, he looked sharp, and he looked aggressive, like the old Joshua. Didn't look fearful of being hit. So that's positive. And yes, let's get the Fury Usyk fight at long last on now. And then obviously Joshua will go in there very confident. But I'd like to know what you guys think. Personally, I don't want to see Ngannou in the boxing ring for a while now. I don't think he fought with the same fire, the passion. But ultimately, I knew styles obviously do make fights. Joshua carries far more power than Fury in terms of overhand rights. Fury can knock you out when you're close up, but Joshua can knock you out at reach. Fury doesn't possess that overhand right at reach that Joshua does. He has to get inside you, which helped lift up to Ngannou's style, because he could grab Fury, but from a distance, Joshua's got that knockout power, and that ultimately was the difference. And mixing up the jab as well, going to the body, to the head, just confused Ngannou, and then he got the opening, and at distance he knocked him out, and that was the difference. Styles make fights. Usyk won't get caught like that from distance by Joshua. That's the big difference, and I don't think a sharp, focused Fury would as well. But let me know what you guys think. MMA, boxing, for this time, boxing rules. Make no mistake about it. If it's in the octagon, Ngannou would just take Joshua down, and it would be over very quickly as well. So we have to be respectful of MMA fighters. But in the boxing ring, it's not really the place for them. All right, guys, I'm out, and I'll see you soon. All right, bye.